Faria then drew forth from his hiding place 3 or 4 rolls of linen, laid one over the other, like folds of papyrus. These rolls consisted of slips of cloth about 4 inches wide and 18 long. They were all carefully numbered and closely covered with writing, so legible that Dante could easily read it, as well as make out the sense, it being in Italian, a language he, as a Provençal, perfectly understood. "There," said he, "there is the work complete. I wrote the word Finis at the end of the 68th strip about a week ago. I have torn up 2 of my shirts, and as many handkerchiefs as I was master of, to complete the precious pages. Should I ever get out of prison, and find in Italy a printer courageous enough to publish what I have composed, my literary reputation is forever secured." "I see," said Dante. "Now let me behold the curious pens with which you have written your work." "Look," said Faria, showing to the young man a slender stick about 6 inches long, and much resembling the size of the handle of a fine painting brush, to the end of which was tied, by a piece of thread, one of those cartilages of which the Abbé had before spoken to Dante. It was pointed, and divided at the nib like an ordinary pen. Dante examined it with intense admiration, then looked around to see the instrument with which it had been shaped so correctly into form. "Ah, yes," said Faria, "the penknife. That's my masterpiece. I made it, as well as this larger knife, out of an old iron candlestick. The penknife was sharp and keen as a razor. As for the other knife, it would serve a double purpose, and with it one could cut and thrust." Dante examined the various articles shown to him with the same attention that he had bestowed on the curiosities and strange tools exhibited in the shops at Marseilles and the works of the savages in the South Seas, from whence they had been brought by the different trading vessels. "As for the ink," said Faria, "I told you how I managed to obtain that, and I only just make it from time to time as I require it." Okay, want to just acknowledge right now this passage just put up a warning flag for me, something I want to address now before it becomes an issue. If it becomes an issue, I don't know. We're dealing with classic literature here. And I already wasn't comfortable just using the word savages just then. I want to respect Dumas' novel. I don't know that there will be any outdated language in terms of racial stereotyping or insensitivity to different cultures in here. There certainly was in The Scarlet Pimpernel, let me tell you that. And so I just want to acknowledge that I want to approach all of this with the utmost respect and sensitivity. I don't want to avoid anything, but I also want to make sure that, we're here dealing with the story as it is. So I don't know what's coming down the line. I just want to acknowledge that it might be something that I have to wrestle with myself. And I hope that you will be on board with whatever decision I make, whether it's to just respect the work and state it as it is without changing it. I will try to provide whatever trigger warnings and words of warning that I can leading into it. And I will probably go in that direction, but it's gonna be a case-by-case scenario. So I just want to acknowledge that now. That really has nothing to do with the passage we've read. But let's get down to what has transpired here. I don't want to say it's a lot of the same stuff, because it's all just subtly building on one another. And, this is the same kind of moments. It's not like every page we're dealing with a different scene. Continuation of the scene of the expansion of Dante's mind and getting physical, we've mentioned this already, but I think that this is important for Dante. It could just be looked at as, oh, look at that, I'm holding and looking at a pen here, or a pen knife. Whoop-de-doo. It could just be seen as the frivolous, moment for what it is. Oh, I'm holding a pen made of fish bones, or I've told you about how I make the ink, and that's as far as it goes. But, as we talked about, the metaphor of the person running a 4-minute mile for the first time, and suddenly everyone realizes it actually is possible and they can run the 4 mile after that, or 3-minute mile. I don't know. I'm not into sports, so I don't know what the actual record is. Doesn't matter. The point is, all of this exposure and experience with the physical proof of what the Abbé has been talking about over the last chapter is giving proof to Dante that this stuff is possible. And if it's possible for him, maybe, just maybe, it could be possible for Dante as well. Maybe he can bring something different to the table, something new. We don't know that. We don't know where Dante's mind is going with this yet. It's just, this is the, mind explosion emoji is all that Dante is experiencing in these pages. And I think, too, I don't know what to take of it, but the fact that Dante first asked to see the manuscript before the tools is maybe just kind of a subtle indication on Dumas' part to show Dante's inclination toward expanding his mind rather than living a life of tools in his hands the way that he has up to this point. Like, it's a demarcation of the transformation of his character. Maybe, again, that could just be, pretentious corner that we're stuck in, analyzing that. But more importantly, I think it's allowing Dumas to show us not just, there's the question we've had of, is the Abbé actually mad, delusional, etc.? This is Dumas saying, no, I'm going to show you that he actually is brilliant. Now, he might still be cracked, but at least there is a truth to what he can manifest with his brilliance. The delusional part might come in with his ambition. I don't know. Because, as he says here, if I ever get out and I can show this manuscript to a courageous printer in Italy, then this is going to be my masterpiece. My reputation is going to be established. I don't have to worry again. And the idea will be out there amongst the masses. Maybe that's where the delusion comes in, the madness to a degree. I don't know. All right, I'm going to end today's episode there, but I just want to remind you all that we have the Discord available to all of you who are willing and able and excited to jump into a conversation about this book, about all books. You can do that in today's show notes. The link is right there. No walls to go through, no tunnels you have to dig in order to get there. Just click the link. You can join the Discord and give me a little feedback about the show, what you want to hear. Last chapter, we did some talks about other books, some book chats outside of the Count of Monte Cristo, and just testing the waters. But I'd like to know what you want to hear here. That's what I said. I want to know what you want to hear here. Here. I want to know what you want to get out of this podcast beyond me talking in a vacuum. If you like the book chats, if you want to get to know each other a little bit more, I'm very open to that, but I don't want to provide you things you don't want. So any feedback you can give me is very appreciated. And if it's that kind of feedback, you can email me or you can get it in the Discord and let me know. I'd prefer that over you putting it into a review on the show. Not that any of you have done that yet, but leave the ratings and reviews for the 5-star thumbs up stuff so that we can help grow the show. And if you want to give me constructive feedback, you can do that on the Discord. Okay, fair enough. Cool. Then let's continue here tomorrow with more of Chapter 17. I will see y'all then. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.